Trapmore gang, Bill Clinton's testimony has been an absolute disaster. It's been a few days, there's been a lot, there's been hours to get through. I'm going to update you today on just some of the most embarrassing and just outrageous moments from Bill Clinton's Epstein testimony that raise a whole lot of eyebrows, okay? But before we get into that, just to prime you guys and just to give you guys a little bit of a background understanding, let's have just like a little recap of Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton's alleged relationship, which allegedly started in the 90s and from all accounts before this testimony seemed to be a flourishing friendship, a lot of meetups, a lot of flights together, and now he's denying a whole lot of things. So ironically, we're getting an advert for a printable PDF. Now, I think there was definitely a few PDF documents printed out in this testimony, in this deposition, but I'm going to give you a little bit of background just from this article before we get into some of these sordid moments, okay? Jeffrey Epstein visited Bill Clinton's White House at least 17 times from 1993 to 1995. That's what the logs show, okay? He's going to spin a whole yarn. It's going to sound very different when Bill's telling you, okay? But this is what we was hearing before this testimony. So billionaire and accused trafficker Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times during former Bill Clinton's first few years in office, the newly unearthed visitor logs would reveal. The logs, which were obtained by the Daily Mail through an FOIA request, revealed several visits by Epstein, beginning with an invitation just 1 month after Clinton's inauguration on January 1993 by Robert Rubin, who was assistant to the president for economic policy at that time. A spokeswoman for Rubin told the outlet that to the best of Mr. Rubin's recollection, he never met or spoke with Mr. Epstein. We hear that one a lot. And then the pics come out, and then suddenly it was a lunch, then suddenly it was a brunch, then it's a lunch, then it's a dinner, then it is a full-blown freak-off, all right? The logs show Epstein, who died in 2019 of apparent self-deletion in jail, yeah, sure, visited the White House on 14 separate days, made 2 visits in a single day on 3 occasions between 1993 and 1995. Most of the visits were to the West Wing, making it likely that he met with the president himself. Epstein visited the White House a dozen times in 1994 alone, including 4 visits in less than a week in April. For some of the visits, the president's schedule showed he wasn't at the White House at the time, according to the report. This report comes as the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell begun this week, so this is old, but these allegations have been around for quite some time with regards to Bill Clinton's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell is accused of procuring underage girls for Epstein between 1994 and 2004, a time period in which many of the White House meetings occurred. However, Epstein's crimes were not publicly known until 2006. In 2019, after Epstein's death, Clinton said he knew nothing about the terrible crimes Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to in Florida some years ago, or those which he has recently been charged with in New York. Epstein was invited to the White House by some of Clinton's most senior advisors and aides, the logs would show. His second visit to the White House was for a reception coordinated by the White House Historical Association after Epstein made a $10,000 donation. Oopsie. Photos would show Epstein and Clinton shaking hands at the event, which Maxwell attended alongside Epstein. Never put eggs in the fridge. These are all ironic Epstein puns, you could say, these ads. It's actually hilarious. It says, after leaving office, Clinton traveled on Epstein's private jet known as the Lolita Express at least 26 times. Flight logs for Epstein's planes would show, and as many as 10 of those trips were with no Secret Service detail. It felt so secure they didn't send the Secret Service with him. A Clinton spokesman previously said the president took a total of 4 trips on Epstein's plane in 2002 and 2003, 1 to Europe, 1 to Asia, and 2 to Africa, which included stops in connection with the work of the Clinton Foundation. The spokesman also denied that Clinton had ever visited Epstein's island, Little St. James, after Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts Giuffre said the former president had stayed on the island with 2 young girls that had come from New York. So, we're hearing a whole lot. We've seen the Epstein files, we've heard allegations, we've seen pictures of Bill Clinton getting cozy in a swimming pool, all right? Very suspect images have been circulated in this case. And, it is a little bit bizarre, all right? It is a little bit bizarre. So let's listen to a few excerpts from the deposition to hear some of the interesting things that happened. And we're going to decide together, is this a whole load of cap? Is this a whole load of baloney? Now, according to Clinton, he claimed that he met Jeffrey Epstein for the first time in 2002. Now, we're hearing he took multiple trips on the plane. He visited the White House back in the 90s. But Clinton's going to tell a whole different story.
Well, I will try in this testimony, and I will point it out when I'm aware there's a picture or something that predates this. There's a picture which shows him shaking hands in the White House Historical Association reception. That was in 1993, but I'm not aware of that. first remember meeting him.
So there's a picture of you shaking hands. It doesn't remember that. Doesn't remember that. The first time you met him was in the 2000s, even though there's a picture of them shaking hands in the 90s. Right.
When I got on his airplane to take the first trip with my foundation in, I think, 2002. Whatever it was. But
so he's claiming the first time they met was in 2002 as his best memory. So it is interesting, right? So he would actually deny victim statements that had tied him to visiting Epstein while he was president prior to this.
I want to begin with Maria Farmer. Do you know who Maria Farmer is? Maria Farmer was employed by Jeffrey Epstein and abused by him for a number of years. And she first reported her abuse to the New York PD and FBI in 1996. And she states that she has personal knowledge that you visited Jeffrey Epstein's house 3 to 4 times while you were the sitting president between 1995 and 1996. And she says she knows this based on photographs that Ghislaine Maxwell showed to her, as well as discussions with the staff. So let me ask you, Mr. President, did you visit Jeffrey Epstein's house while you were president?
I do not remember doing that. I do not believe I did.
He didn't say no. He said, I don't remember doing that. I do not believe that I did. Now, this guy's slick with his words. He also said that he never had sexual relations with that woman. But he's basically saying what the victims are saying to Cap. It's baloney. It's not true. No, it's not true. He would also deny ever being on Epstein's private island.
Were you ever aware or engaged in any of these sexual orgies?
Are these on the island where he's testified that he's
No,
not
ma'am,
been on the
I
island?
was never on the island.
Were you ever on any island in the Virgin Islands?
To travel for a trip with his wife, which is on the public record? I'm
With
sorry,
Jeffrey
what's your
Epstein?
question?
No.
You were never in the Virginia Islands,
In
Virgin
the Virgin
Islands
with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Okay, thank you.
Do you think a young girl massaging a president is unusual?
So are you asking his opinion?
Well,
You're
he was
asking his
massaged by
opinion?
a young woman. I'm asking if he thinks it's unusual that a president, sitting president of the United States, leader of the free world, that it's
So I'm sorry,
unusual.
are you speaking to, are you talking to the instance of the
Yes, is it unusual that
the
a young
back
woman would be
massage
massaging-
that occurred while he was not president? I'm just trying to understand. You said a president of the United States.
former president?
Thank you. Just trying to make sure we're correcting the
Are you
time frame.
filibustering?
No, I don't need
Okay.
to. I'm actually trying to make
I
sure
think
that
I'm
as
pretty
you...
clear. He said he
You
knows what
said
he
he was
was
a
shake him.
sitting president.
Excuse me, could we just
He is
please
old.
go one at a time? Thank you.
You said a sitting president. I want you to be clear so that when he answers
former
you,
sitting
the
president. How
record
do
is
you want
clear.
to do it? Is it unusual?
I have no idea if it's unusual.
Objection calls for speculation.
I figured. Did you ever think that all these women around Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell was odd, unusual, weird, or creepy?
There weren't all that many around when I was there.
How many would you say is not all that many?
I think on this big plane that was working long hours, having 2 to 4 people on there, I thought was, as far as I knew, they were all helping.
Flight attendants in tank tops and jeans, right?
No.
Mr.
Flight attendants in tank top. No, come on, man. Slick Willie. They're saying this is the sequel to I Didn't Have Sexual Relations to That Woman. The prequel to I Didn't Inhale, all right, is actually hilarious. So, interestingly, while Bill Clinton would claim that his relationship with Epstein ended in 2005, it turned out that his relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell continued until 2019, right up until Jeffrey Epstein ended up getting smoked, aka allegedly smoking himself.
And when did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
I don't think I've seen her in a decade. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know exactly when.
Why did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
Well, at first she moved to Boston, I think. She had a relationship with a man there, and I think they may have married. And so she wasn't so much around, and then when it became, after 2019, when it became obvious that she was involved too, to an extent that I did not know. that was the end of it.
That was the end of it. Didn't know what was going on. Kept cozy with Maxwell even after Epstein got his serious charges in Palm Beach. Doesn't really make sense. Now, another interesting tidbit, okay. In the past, Bill and Hillary Clinton have both been tied to visits to Epstein's New Mexico Zorro Ranch. And this will be covered extensively, okay, in this Daily Mail article, okay. This kind of breaks down the history of him being so closely connected to Jeffrey Epstein in his New Mexico ranch. It says, exclusive, Bill Clinton was Jeffrey Epstein's closest celebrity mate and a frequent guest at his New Mexico ranch with wife Hillary, staying at the PDF's cowboy-themed village, say estate workers. Right? There's a whole lot of crazy stuff that's coming up. I'm going to read you the whole article. It says, Bill and Hillary Clinton stayed at Jeffrey Epstein's notorious baby-making ranch almost a year after they left the White House, according to the disgraced financier's estate. Almost every year after they left the White House, according to the disgraced financier's estate manager. The former president was Epstein's closest celebrity friend, and the Clintons, along with daughter Chelsea, visited Zorro Ranch a whole bunch of times. A former contractor who ran the IT system at the property told the Daily Mail TV in an exclusive interview. The family visited the 10,000-acre estate in the New Mexico desert often, but never stayed in the main house. Instead, the Clinton family bunked down in a special cowboy-themed village created by Epstein, which is a mile south of his own luxury mountaintop villa. They'd use one or two of the guest houses, which look like they're straight out of the 19th century. They've got exclusive images of them. The guest homes are next to other traditional Wild West style buildings, such as an old schoolhouse and a saloon bar, and an American flag is raised high above the village, which is next door to Epstein's private airstrip, where he arrived on his private plane, including the infamous Lolita Express. This is all according to security expert Jared Kellogg, who was brought in by long-standing ranch manager Bryce Gordon to improve security and set up a camera system at the main house and Cowboy Village. Oh, but what about those? No camera footage. Oh, no footage. No footage. Got whole people coming in setting up camera systems and there's no footage. What a joke. So this is the Cowboy Village. You've got the general store there. Maybe he's got a jail there where he could work on, practice being in jail as he would have been had he not been smoked. These are the sort of guest houses he's got. It's beautiful, right? It's a shame it was owned by such a dirtbag, but it is beautiful. It's interesting. It's got this old Wild West village. This is where Hillary and Bill Clinton were coming every year for their vacation, apparently. Okay. Ironically, looks like a target. Shame that they couldn't shoot a little tactical airstrike into this monstrosity. But anyway, Bill Clinton's press office referred to a statement released over the summer. He denied he ever visited Epstein's residences, apart from once at his home in New York City. Okay, Kellogg said at the time of his site walk of Epstein's property, he barely had any knowledge of Epstein's reputation, but he said Gordon spent most of the time boasting about the Clintons' frequent appearance there. The ranch is one of several of Epstein's homes where underage girls were flown in from all around the world, and obviously we know there was a plan apparently to impregnate 20 women at a time at the ranch to improve the human race with his genes. Apparently this guy had all sorts of medical problems, but he wanted to improve the human race with his genes. What a dummy. Okay, Kellogg said, my contact was Bryce. Their main concern was there was no video surveillance on the property at all. I thought this was a simple request as they wanted surveillance to protect their investment. It's a huge site. But what was weird was that the whole time I was on site, Bryce would be bragging how the Clintons would visit, the whole family, not just Bill, but his wife, their kid. They'd stay on the ranch itself. He built this Western replica village with a saloon, barn houses, and an old schoolhouse where you're walking through it. Feels like you're walking through the 1800s. His biggest concern was monitoring and covering that area. So my main focus was mounting cameras on poles to cover the driveways, walkways, and the ins and outs of each house and facility. It was like Westworld. It's like they built a functioning movie set and they put a lot of thought and detail into it. The flooring and the facilities there. I was saying how cool the replica houses were. They're pretty neat, like the 1800s. He said, yeah, they're built for guests. We get a lot of visitors. It's really cool. The Clintons come and hang out with Epstein. It sounded like a normal summer vacation. Epstein and Bill were once friends, and in August, Daily Mail revealed the convicted PDF had a portrait of Bill wearing a dress hanging on the wall of his New York mansion. The picture depicted the former president apparently lounging in a chair in the Oval Office wearing red heels and posing suggestively in a blue dress, reminiscent of Monica Lewinsky's, and it was in a room off the stairway of Epstein's Upper East townhouse, estimated to be worth $56 million, and the dress is also strikingly similar to one worn by Hillary Clinton at the 2009 Kennedy offers. There it is. All right. Kennedy honors. Sorry. There it is. What a doozy of an image. I'm not going to lie. If that went up for auction from the Epstein estate, I would purchase it because this is a legendary painting. I don't know who painted it. They're probably the victim of a self-deletion. Let's be real. All right. He's on the flight log. He's on the manifest. All right. It says Bill has admitted by his own account he'd visited Epstein's townhouse once, making it possible he could have even seen the bizarre painting. He also flew on the now deceased financier's private plane, dubbed the Lolita Express, several times. And Clinton has denied being on Epstein's PDF island, Little St. James, but one of his former slaves, Virginia Roberts, claims she saw Clinton on the island for a dinner held in his honor shortly after he left office and stood by the claim when questioned under oath. Oh, but she also took herself out. How convenient. The one testimony we'd like to hear. Over the summer, the former president's office said Bill had not known anything of Epstein's crimes. He took 4 trips with him in 2002, 2003, although flight logs showed that he had taken a total of at least 26 individual flights over the course of those years. Kellogg said that he was stopped from going into certain areas of the estate, but did briefly go into an underground section of the main house, confirmed. In November, a former contractor revealed to Daily Mail that Epstein had built a secret basement strip club. Now we know. My access was very controlled during the site walk. It was dictated where I could and couldn't go. There were certain facilities I wasn't allowed to go in, which was odd as they were boarded up. It looked like they could have big parties in them, but I didn't think much of it. They wanted to put very, very limited camera coverage on the main house itself. I was going to put up a couple of cameras on the exterior of the main entrance. At the main entrance, there's a downward slope at the back that goes into the basement. I was able to briefly go. There was a long hallway to a big foyer, and there was a door. That was about it. The 2 guest houses I was not permitted to go into. All right. I've got a party shower, apparently. Big, beautiful staircase. Lovely swimming pool and hot tub. Why do the worst people get the best things in life? It is actually screwed. Due to security reasons, he wasn't even permitted to put a camera location on the drawing that we would then have on our records. What's odd is that as a security professional, for me to give the best protection I can give a customer, I need the full layout of the land. I need to see the nooks, crannies, and blind spots. They were limiting that access. The staff only lived in one house as far as I was aware, which is the one nearest to the main gate. The saloon bar is at the center of the village. There's a bar area that looks like they'd throw parties from my own observations. There's also a bay/hay storage. They put tractors and other vehicles in it. Considering Epstein was a multimillionaire, he said that Gordon wanted the security. They wanted to do the security for the cheap. Instead of using an expensive, robust camera system with underground cables, he wanted a point-to-point wireless flush fluid mesh design, which meant cameras were operating via antenna, and it was considerably cheaper. Kellogg did an estimate, sent in a plan, but he never heard back. Said they had this huge facility, but I felt like they didn't have the money to do anything. They were trying to find the most cost-effective way to transmit video footage, and we had to come up with a point-to-point wireless fluid mesh design, because normally we want to trench everything. It saves money as you don't have to build a trench and put in a cable. But what was odd to me is that I wasn't able to interact with Epstein. If it's your house, you have concerns. The task had been delegated to Bryce, who seemed to be in charge of everything. I did my site walk, did my estimate, sent it in. It fell on deaf ears, and there was no contact back to me. Maybe you're lucky because you would have ended up on that list. Okay. Now, there was a very, very infamous moment in this testimony that raised a whole lot of eyebrows, as one of Epstein's victims, Maria Farmer, would actually previously testify that Epstein had suggested that Bill Clinton liked a certain type of woman. More specifically, right, this was said, let me pull it up. They asked about, did you massage Jeffrey? They said, I was living in secret about what I was doing during those massages. I did not want my friends to be, to know what I was doing, so I did not want anyone coming into that. They said, was Bill Clinton a friend of Jeffrey Epstein? And I said, do you know if Bill Clinton was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein? He said, I knew he had dealings with Bill Clinton. I did not know they were friends until I read about the Vanity Fair article with them going to Africa together. I said, did Jeffrey ever talk to you about Bill Clinton? He said one time that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. I said, do you ever recall taking a trip to Jeffrey Epstein's home in New Mexico? Yes. And what do you recall on that trip? Who did you go on that trip with? Now, this is what was going on. And this is 4 months ago, all right? This isn't surprising. Clinton liked them young. A lot of people saying, call me crazy, but I think they all liked him young. It's sort of chilling to see the exact same phrasing used about Trump. Trump used about Epstein, sort of an inside term for their ring. So people think think Bill Clinton should be in jail. All right. There would also be basically this 2002 photo that captured Bill Clinton getting that massage from one of Epstein's victims. We already saw Bill Clinton getting questioned about this in a previous part of the deposition where they said, is it normal? Is it straight? Like, is this what current or former presidents be doing, getting massages on trips and pictures taken of them from Epstein victims, incredible sunburn on his face? Is that normal? Apparently that's a question that can't be answered. Lawyers are all over it. People saying, cool, release the files. It's a non-partisan issue, okay? So, interestingly enough, okay, it would be during this long section of the testimony where Clinton would address his ties to the Zorro Ranch, the allegations that he liked him young, and as we already saw in a previous clip, but I'll show you again, the photos of this massage.
Did you know one of the witnesses who testified in the Epstein cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young? Why would Epstein say that about you?
Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say
Correct.
something about him?
Why would Epstein say that
So
about
she's
the
asking you
president?
to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
First of
Clinton
all,
likes them young, referring to girls.
that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage. I said young.
Do you like him young, Bill? Do you like him young? Now, he's slick with it, right? He didn't have sexual relations with that woman. He doesn't have an interest in underage. Do you like him young? That's what was asked. That's what was said.
It's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Is an intern young? Cooked? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
At my age, anybody younger than I
Did you
am is
know
young.
Jeffrey Epstein
Oh my God. Oh my God. No, stop. It's too much.
instructed a witness to deny you were
The shake says it
ever
all.
on his island?
He didn't have to since I was never there.
Did you ever travel to Zorro Ranch?
Was that the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Have you ever
Yeah, they were saying you was there every year, Bill.
flown on anyone else's private jet 26 times or more for overseas trips?
I have flown as many miles on other jets, but never with as many stops.
How many other people's planes have you used, like Epstein 26 times or miles, etc.?
I don't know. I did with Steve Bing, who's now deceased, and probably with 4 or 5 others.
Okay.
Interesting.
So maybe about a half dozen billionaires total. So how many dinners did you have with Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein in attendance?
She's asking to the best of your recollection.
I have no idea.
Okay. Did you ever discuss sexual misconduct allegations made against you with Epstein or Maxwell?
Never.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer to help manage or silence women who made sexual misconduct allegations against you?
No.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer financial support directly or indirectly to legal defense funds related to impeachment proceedings or civil actions against you?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you think a young girl massaging a president is unusual?
So are you asking his opinion?
Well, he
You're
was
asking his
massaged by a young woman. I'm asking if he thinks it's unusual that a president, sitting president of the United States, leader of the free world, that
So
it's
I'm sorry.
unusual
Are
a
you
young woman
speaking
would
to?
be.
Are you talking to the instance of the
Yes, is it
the-
unusual that
the
a young
back
woman would be
massage
massaging?
that occurred while he was not president? I'm just trying to understand. You said a president of the United States.
Former president?
Thank you. Just trying to make sure we're correcting the
Are you
time frame.
filibustering?
No, I don't need
Okay.
to. I'm actually trying to make
I
sure
think
that
I'm
as
pretty
you
clear. He said he
you
was
said he was a sitting president.
Excuse me, could we just please go one at a time? Thank you.
You said a sitting president. I want you to be clear so that when he answers
former
you,
sitting
the
president. How
record
do
is
you want
clear.
to do it? Is it unusual?
Objection
no
calls
idea
for-
if it's unusual or
Objection
not.
calls for speculation.
Don't answer. Don't answer. You're going to get too cooked. You're going to get too cooked, all right? No one's going to be prosecuted. Nothing's going to happen, okay? Now, look, okay, we've all seen the picture. I showed it to you in that Daily Mail article, okay? This really blew people's minds up. And I believe he was actually presented with this image during his deposition. Now, this is 7 years ago this was posted. This was the infamous blue dress painting. People were saying this is so bizarre that my immediate reaction was this is fake and photoshopped, but actually it seems legit. What in the fuck was going on? What is going on? The original painting was called Passing Bill, and it's by Australian-American artist Patrina Ryan Clyde. Although it's unclear if Epstein had bought the canvas or had a print mounted, Ryan Clyde exhibited this for her degree show when she graduated an MFA in 2012 from the New York Academy of Art. So the painting is real, but it was found in Epstein home. So this would imply that he bought it. He didn't maybe commission it, but still, it's crazy. And during the during Bill Clinton's deposition, he was asked about the painting. They said, what's going on?
So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that is looks to be you, Mr. President, in this blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
He doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
my question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
Do you know why someone would paint this?
Are you asking him to
Objection.
speculate?
That's calls for speculation. You can ask the artist.
And if I had known Jeffrey Epstein had this painting, it would have saved me this whole day.
Did you ever
What is that supposed to mean? Like, what? I would have never been friends with him. You was bro, what's going on? I would have saved this whole thing. What? It's, come on.
introduce Epstein to Monica Lewinsky or any other young female White House staffers?
I did not.
Did Epstein ever request introductions to young female intern staffers of you? Did he request you to introduce them? And one regarding this exhibit 15, this portrait, to the right of this image, there appears to be a plain letterhead document that is framed in a gold frame.
So possibly the most viral moment that's been going crazy is this one. Okay, you might have seen this one going around. This is Bill Clinton smiling while looking through the old Epstein photos, and he's having such a good time reminiscing on these good times with Epstein, allegedly, that his lawyer would actually rip them away from him and he would fight to get them back.
What's that? Let me see it. Okay.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour, so I just want to ask you some questions related to the crimes committed by Mr. Epstein. And
They're saying he was smiling, he was reminiscing, right? People were saying he was laughing about the painting of him in the blue dress, the portrait. People were saying that's what he was actually laughing at. Now, this actually did look slightly different to that moment. But basically, that was bizarre, and this was going viral everywhere. So in this part, this was kind of, quite an important and explosive segment where they basically asked him straight up, did he have any sexual contact with young women or girls in Epstein's presence? They ask about, did they see him, did he see Epstein committing any of these aforementioned crimes? He would obviously naturally deny everything, but it would be interesting to actually see it happen in the flesh. And his body language says a lot. He's crossed-armed. He's pissed. He's angry. He doesn't want to be here.
did you ever witness Mr. Epstein sexually abuse or assault young women or girls?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein receive massages from young women or girls?
Not that I recall.
So you're having a picture of you getting a massage and you've never seen Epstein get a massage. Come on.
Did Mr. Epstein ever discuss sexual acts of any kind with you?
No.
You telling me they never spoke about sex? Bill Clinton, for what he's known for.
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Did you ever have sexual contact with any young woman or girl introduced to you by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Mr. President, with the benefit of hindsight, were there things you witnessed that could have suggested that Epstein was trafficking and sexually abusing young women and girls?
I do not believe so.
Took a minute to answer that, didn't it? Took a hot minute to answer it. Now, Clinton would actually make a statement after the deposition. He would give a little bit more context to the situation.
Whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing. They've been waiting too long for both. Though my brief acquaintance with Epstein ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication with what was truly going on, I offered the little I do know in the hopes that it would help prevent anything like this from ever happening again. I also have to say something personal. Republicans made Hillary testify yesterday, and she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. She has no memory of ever even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor visited any of his properties. So whether 10 people or 10,000 people were subpoenaed, including her, was simply not right. So here's what I told the committee. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they show of me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. and I know what I did.
He was uncertain to his best recollection. He couldn't answer. Oh, I couldn't remember to my best recollection. Now he knows what he's seen. Now he's off that oath. He's no longer sobered up off the oath juice.
More importantly, what I didn't do.
Okay. So look, what do we think, man? Do we think Bill Clinton, do we feel like he didn't really do nothing? Did he not have sexual relations with that woman? No woman, just copped to one massage, never saw Epstein getting a massage. It is pretty crazy. Now look, I know there's other people that you could be pointing the finger at. Some of those people are quite scary. All right. I do like being alive. But right now, look, we ain't got no other deputy. We got Bill, we got Hillary, we got Les Wexner. If another big dog gets their name brought into the deposition room, I'll keep you guys updated. But for now, that's going to be it from me. Let me know what you guys thought of this one, man. I know I'm a little bit late to the party. I've been traveling. I'm going to announce something very exciting that I was out of town working on very soon. All right, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm a little bit behind. I've got a few stories that I'm going to be getting to you guys over the next few days, and I'm going to be catching up, and we're going to be back to the breaking news. You know me, I'm back in the setup. I might change my backdrop soon as well, so if you've got any ideas for that, let me know. But anyway, thanks so much for your support, guys. I'm out for now. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.